Hello, this is a recap of the Grand Rapids City Council work session and meeting that was held today, March 27th. At our work session had a department head report, and this week was from the Community Development Department. And more or less what it was a recap of 2022 and then things that are happening here towards 2023. I guess I'd note that 2022 was the highest on record, going back to at least the chart we saw, which is 2005, and significantly more. Both commercial and institutional building was above average, and residential was more or less at the average, actually slightly above. And the rolling 5-year average of building is more than doubled over the past 4 years. For example, there have been 8 new single-family homes built in the past year in Grand Rapids, a number of commercial places both built and repaired, including a gas station and a car wash and others. Then he went into the building inspection portion of the department, a number of plan reviews for buildings, 221 residential plans were reviewed and 92 commercial. He went into some of the EDA activities, and probably the highlight, I've mentioned this before, but was the Yanmar, what used to be called ASV, Yanmar expansion project, which is geared to add over 300 jobs to the community and a $9.5 million capital investment into that building. He also mentioned that the downtown plan update project is taking place. This plan would replace the 2006 plan. We're not quite done with it, but so far we've received input from over 1,000 citizens on their ideas for what the downtown should look like. There were a few grants received for downtown activities, a $300,000 grant that was given to what would be called a downtown entertainment loan program. This will allow, probably the most common one would be River Fest, but it could be others as well. Received a loan of $75,000, ease some concern with how much nonprofits and other organizations are willing to stick their neck out to make something like this happen. But they do have to have a business plan in place. We also went into some housing development plans. So we have a preliminary agreement with Apadan, who built Pillars. They're doing their due diligence on a 132-unit apartment near the West Elementary site by the Pillars building. Also, a 76-unit apartment on Greta property north of the library is being looked into. We're working with local developers on a 60-unit housing community on the former wastewater treatment plant site. We've replatted the Forest Lake site into 22 single-family homes, of which 8 are currently looking to be developed by the Itasca HRA. And then at the West Elementary site, we have a number of building options there. We have an agreement with a contractor on 1 with a 2-year option on 4 more if the first one gets sold. We moved into the regular agenda. We approved authorizing interviews and hiring for the police captain and sergeant. We recently hired a new police chief, which will cause a domino effect in the department. First, we'll hire a new police captain, and then that will probably open up a sergeant's position that will be, the interview process can go on for that. We also approved the low bid for our road construction project this summer, and this summer will be Sylvan Bay overlay and utilities, so kind of the southwest portion in town, more or less the area between 4th Street Southwest and the river, including down by the landing down in that area. We had a public hearing on adopting an ordinance amendment on a zoning in Chapter 30 land development regulations. What we ended up approving after the public hearing was changing the criteria in the central business district, which hasn't had an apartment complex built in a long, long time. We currently had a per unit standard within the code that other cities don't have, which made it fiscally not possible to build an apartment in the downtown. So we took a look at that. For example, the land across from the library, there is somebody looking at that right now, just north, blocks 20 and 21. We originally looked at having an 83-unit hotel there, which we had approved, that didn't go through. But on that same land, if we built an apartment there, it could only have 21 units. And that's just not feasible to fiscally to have anybody build a 21-unit apartment. So we took a look at what other cities do. They don't have it. We still have parking lot requirements and setbacks that will ensure that things don't get out of hand. And this would allow, for example, if somebody wanted to go forward there, we could get 76-unit apartment on that property. So the council believed it made sense. The Planning Commission approved that, and we approved it this evening to change that part of our land development regulations to, it coincided with our comprehensive plan, which encourages downtown development for living, apartment buildings and so forth, and that will do nothing but improve businesses downtown. It will help them having more traffic in that area. So with that, we meet again on April 10th, 2023. Have a good evening.